while we're in the room, should we start with Glamour Central, that is the Palmerston North room? What questions would you like to ask about from our three remarkable speakers? Any questions from the room? Silence.
Vicky, could you tell us a little bit more about what you're going to do next? What's the next stage of this amazing research that you've done, these interviews with these children? What are your next questions or interviews focused?
I'm wrapped up with the ongoing literature review and lots of reading, which isn't my favourite area, and writing. So yeah, my supervisors are very good at keeping me in check over that. I'm using that research to write to other things and link it in with the work I do in advocacy for neurodivergence and photography and things like that. So I'm bearing in mind I need to complete a PhD, so I've got that to do, but I'm also aware that I need to use these voices to help me understand other areas and how we use photography to explore different voices as well.
Brilliant, brilliant, Vicky. Lethwi, could I ask you a quick one before we go back to the room as well? I've got about 57 questions to ask you, so I'll send you an email at the conclusion of this gig. But can I ask you a really tough question? You talked in the first 5 minutes about the value of targets, about the importance and the value of actually, you know what, if you want women in leadership, you're going to have a target. Now, obviously, with all the EDI DEI nonsense that's happening on the planet at the moment, which is racist, sexist, homophobic, we know all of that. Would you like to speak to targets and their value or not?
I would like to speak regarding that because for universities to get funding, they need to have to reach targets, and the targets are set by the Department of Higher Education. So for them to get injected in terms of funding, they need to ensure that they meet those targets, because as a university, you need to have a strategy. Without a strategy, you'll be everywhere. So the targets are a driver in terms of showing and guiding in terms of how do we progress as a university to reach where we need to be. So the target of 44%, although it's not even half, it's quite less because in terms of population, women are more than men. So the target of 44% is quite not substantial because it needs to be more and represent the population we have in the country. And as I presented earlier, saying when we graduate students, majority is females, but when you now reflect in terms of employment, you find in executive level, both in business and academia, it's mostly men and not women. So what happens to women?
That's right. So it's either a plateau, a glass ceiling, or indeed, what was the other great one? A glass labyrinth. So it takes women a lot longer to get to a position of power and leadership as well as, and that seems to be what your research is finding.
Yes, it does. It takes longer, and some women decide not even to aspire to be promoted to associate professor. They settle in junior positions because they prefer to teach and not do the research because they feel it's time consuming and they should be raising kids and focus on that, unlike aspiring to get promoted, because if they aspire to be promoted, sometimes they feel the system is not favorable. There are a lot of hurdles to navigate for you to get to those positions.
Fascinating. Oh, absolutely brilliant. So as I said, can I say you're going to end up a vice chancellor? So we've seen this remarkable woman at this early stage of her career. You're going to end up vice chancellor, I've no doubt in my mind. Now, colleagues, anyone would like to ask another question? We've got about 3 minutes left. Are there any questions to ask? I'm sure there are hundreds. Who'd like to have a go?
It's Jo. Can I ask a question?
Oh, hello, Jo, you glamorous creature. Loving the shoes. Go for it, Jo.
You see those shoes?
I can certainly see your shoes. They're excellent. Yeah, I can see them good now. Thanks, mate.
So I was interested in the mentoring that was mentioned from South Africa. Yep. So we're just a plug for Graduate Women New Zealand. We're doing a mentoring program, and I'd be really interested to know if there's a particular topic that you found really helpful to encourage young women into PhDs or academic career.
Prof. Tara, do you mind repeating the question? Sorry, I had mentioned, yes.
Is there a particular topic you found helpful in the mentoring program?
I'm not sure in terms of what question specifically, but in terms of mentorship, we we mentor PhD students because I was part of the program myself, where there was also a coach that you'd meet on weekly basis just to tell them, because they're accountable partner, where you set targets for yourself and they guide you and say, did you meet that target? And with that mentorship and coaching, they're not focusing on your PhD only, even your self-awareness, your mindfulness, because you still need to remember to embrace humanity while doing this PhD. So the topics also that if I'm responding to your question, we found as well that as we mentor students not only for PhD, also undergrad, because I was a chairperson of a program that we ran for mentorship, and I did a cross-sectional study to find if the program assisted students to be resilient and have quality of life. So I used a resilience scale, and I found that the students had high resilience because of the mentorship program that we ran. And as I focused on COVID-19, the year 2020, 2022, asking the students, how did you find the benefit of the program? Because we were isolated. It was a time of shock for everyone. Did you feel supported, and how was your quality of life? And the study indicated that students were well supported with good quality life and resilience. So the program, mentorship program, goes from undergrad to PhD, because and academics as well can benefit if they are intentional as well, because as a mentor, as a mentee as well, you need to know how you want to be mentored so you can guide your mentor and give them direction on how you need to be supported. It's a matter of supply and demand. A mentor cannot supply if your demand is not visible and clear to them. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. Yeah.
How brilliant is she? So Joe, that's brilliant, because that's about mentorship, contextualization around goals. I think that using coaching methodologies, I think that's brilliant. Can I just throw one quick question to Robin? Because I mean, again, I've got a list of questions for Robin, but Robin, you when you started your presentation, you talked magnificently about the library being a safe space, and you use that phrase, and that's a resonant phrase. Reflecting back on your career, which is a magnificent career of great, great power, have you got a sense that that role of safety has changed through your career? Is it more important now than it was when you started your career, or has it changed?
Society's changing, so there's a lot of people that aren't very well, and they all come into the library because libraries and parks are about the only place that anyone can go to. You can behave badly and get banned from the local shopping mall. So we get from the homeless to millionaires coming into a public library, and often we're quasi-social workers. Some of them will sit down and talk to us for ages. A lot of people that come in, a small proportion of people who come into the public library system, we don't have the skills to help, which is pretty tough. We do what we can. And to ban someone from a library to keep the rest of the public safe is not done lightly, and it's a very last resort. Yeah, it has to be pretty bad. Yeah.
Robin, I think you've really captured there. I talk a lot about the public good, and I probably talk about it in abstract too much, and you're living it and transforming it on a daily basis. So we all thank you for you and your transformative role in citizenship. You are amazing, amazing, Robin.